And that made us actually look into the database a little deeper. And then we found, there are YouTubers with, 20 million followers. There are LinkedIn creators with about 200K to 300K followers who use our system. There are a couple of popular Bollywood artists who use our system, right? So we were always thinking of a logo designer and a programmer and a CA using our system. But when we looked at this audience, and then it clicked us saying, everybody in Bollywood is actually a freelancer.
Hey folks, welcome to First Check Portfolio Shorts. My name is Noah Martins, and this is a series where we speak to founders of our portfolio companies so that you get to know their team, understand what they're building, and the problem they are trying to solve. If you like the content that we've been putting out, do like, share, and subscribe so that we can reach more founders and startup enthusiasts like you. Today's very special guest is Naman Sarwagi, co-founder of Refrens. Refrens is a platform for invoicing, payments, and expense management designed to provide freelancers and agencies with automation for repetitive tasks so that they can focus on what they do best. Using Refrens, you can create and send professional invoices for free, create purchase orders and manage inventory, and create unlimited professional quotations. You can also create and manage your project with deliverable milestones and get paid faster with Refrens' digital escrow system. I had a really great conversation with Naman, and it was awesome to learn about Refrens' unique work culture, investing time into mentoring employees besides giving them ownership, perspective, and the opportunity to create a large impact. Stick around till the end of the episode to learn more. Naman, thank you so much for joining me. It is a pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome. So let's start by talking about the problem that you're trying to solve at Refrens.
Sure. So we are essentially looking at the freelancer and agency economy, right? So freelancers, creators, agencies, who are mostly B2B service providers. Okay. Now, these could be your logo designers or investment bankers, or these could be like very popular YouTube artists who basically, get their money through sponsored videos from other businesses, right? At the core of it, the way we like to see the, the market is that there is a client and vendor relation, right? And there is a lot of communication that happens between them, right? Right from generating a lead to sending a quotation to sending invoices, collecting payments, collecting feedback, etc. Right? So we are building a platform to solve for these problems. What we believe is a designer should be designing, and everything else should be left to us. Whether we do it manually or whether we do it through a software, that's up to us. But the designer should only be designing. That is how we look at the ecosystem going forward, right? And there are three core problems to be solved. A, helping them manage their work. This could be invoices, quotation, leads, etc. Helping them collect payments, right? And mostly concentrated on international payments. If you look at Indian freelancers, their domestic collection bit, at least logistically, is solved, right? As in, NEFT, RTGS, UPI, etc. is very cheap, right? And when everybody knows how to do it. So that's not a challenge. With Indian domestic payments, the real challenge is getting that money out from the client on time, right? So there are two parts to the payments problem. A, the logistical issue, and second, the whole follow-up thing, right? The third problem that we are solving is getting these, freelancers more customers, right? Now, that is the ultimate, like the holy grail that we are trying to solve, which we think is a community piece that will finally come into being if we solve the first two problems of SaaS plus payments. If these two problems are solved, the marketplace and networking will happen as a function of that, right? Globally, there are about 200 million freelancers. In India alone, there are about 2 million freelancers today. Sorry, 20 million in India and 200 million globally, right? So we are building for this audience, right? The user behavior is different from a standard SME that runs a shop, right? The user behavior is different from people who sell things online, right? So there are people who have like offline store, there are people who have like online store. These people that we're targeting are no store guys. They could be working from home, from a cafe, from a co-working space. They don't have like a physical shop anywhere, right? And their services are not something that you can click two buttons online and buy, right? I mean, you can't click buttons to get a investment banker's service, right? Or like click buttons to get the best designer in Bangalore to work for you, right? So that is the audience that we are running after, and solving anything and everything that is not their core expertise.
Awesome. So what is your solution? So tell me a little bit more about what your platform looks like and how it's different from the other competitors out there.
Okay, so we essentially bring in users to, for some document that they need, right? This document could be an invoice or a quotation. That is how they interact with our platform. Currently, the platform is like a web app that we offer, not a mobile app. Right? It will be probably another few months before we launch the mobile version. And users create their first document, they send it out to their client. We automatically create their business profile based on whatever details we can capture from that document. Right? And then users come back to us to create more documents and collect payments. Right? These are the two primary use cases that we are solving now. In another few weeks, we'll be launching user profiles. So we already know the kind of the kind of businesses that you're running after, that your client base, etc. And with your consent, we will create a cool profile for you, which could be like a reference.com/Noah or a Noah.com. You control it. So basically, your web presence will be driven from whatever data we have about you. And this web presence is what we are betting on, that in the long term, this will become like a networking system for all the freelancers to be discovered by their potential clients.
Interesting. All right. And what's the traction so far? How many people are on the platform?
Yeah. So there are over about 100K active businesses, like a quarterly active, but monthly actives we see about 50,000 on the platform, right? And
that's
about
awesome.
30% of this is coming from outside India, 70% is in India, and we've been growing organically outside India. So that is something that we are now chasing. We are starting to put efforts on international growth more, because obviously there is more money to be made, and India represents about 10 to 12% of the global freelancer economy. So 90% of the audience is outside, and we've started seeding those basic stuff with respect to technology and marketing for getting international users on board.
That's awesome. That's very cool, and it's awesome to see a platform like this coming out of India. So talk to me about how you and your co-founder Mohit met, and also tell me a little bit about why people should want to come and join your team and help you build Refrens, or build Refrens with you.
Right. So I met Mohit back in high school, right? We went to Kota, the standard coaching classes stuff, and that is where we met. This some 17, 18 years ago. We were not in touch for a long time after that. And from 2014 onwards, we've been working together, right? So he was building his own startup. I was building my own startup. One fine day, we thought, he moved on from his startup. It was doing great in terms of user traction, etc., but not great in terms of financial outcome, right? That is where we started working together on my startup. This was 2014-15. And from there on, we've been working together, everything that we've done, like consultancy projects, or investing in a lot of startups together. And since 2018 end, we've been working full time on this platform.
Awesome. And talk to me about why people should want to come and join your team and build this.
So I'll tell you what is happening, right? So I said, we in my previous startup, Mohit joined me midway, right? And after that, we ran that from 2000. The startup was active from 2012 to 2016. Mohit was there from 2014 to 2016, right? And there were a lot of people who worked for us only for 1 year or 1.5 years, right? Because we got acquired, and then they had to move out. I still get a lot of calls from those people who worked for us in 2015-16, asking about their next career move, right? Whether they are people who are sitting in the US building their own startup, people who are working for large organizations in Singapore, right? Or somebody working for a large fintech company in India, right? All these people still come back to us for what to do next in their career, right? And that, I think, has only been possible because I and Mohit have taken personal interest in their growth, right? I mean, once that startup is over, we should be all disconnected, right? But even after that startup, and there was a 2-year gap before I started this one, right? We still see, and almost 100% of them come back to us asking about or helping, asking about, their next career move, or if they can work with us now, etc. Right? And this is something that everybody in Refrens also, gets to see, right? People have moved out for various reasons. Somebody moved to a different country, right? And there was one person who moved to a different country because of Corona, came back to the country, joined us again, right? Or people who started out as an intern, joined us full time, or did not join us full time and went on to join a very large company. Right? So that career growth is unparalleled, both in terms of what we offer as founders and what we offer as a problem statement. Right? Today we have a 2020 graduate who's building our payments piece. Right? From an engineering point of view, he is solely responsible for the whole project. This opportunity, I don't think a lot of startups or large companies can offer you, right? The ones that offer
level of ownership.
Yes, that level of ownership, and also the impact. The moment you release the code in production, that very week about 10,000 users are going to be impacted. I've been personally working from a co-working space where we have 5 users of the platform in the same office, right? So if something goes into production, I get like on the face feedback the very next moment, right? So if it is bad or good, and that feedback propagates to everyone in the team, right? And that is where I think, the real growth happens. Whether I did something good or bad, will I come to know this after 1 year or after 1 day or the next hour, right? If that feedback loop is short and fast, your growth is fast. Helping you understand, and offering this whole global user base for you to work on as a marketer, or as a techie, or as a, say, a customer support person, right? This, I think, very few businesses can give you this, where you get those impact like a large company, but you get ownership like a small company, right? That is, I think, what we bring to the table.
Right. So you're giving them perspective, you're giving them ownership, and you're also personally invested in them and giving them that level of, more personal mentorship. That's awesome. I don't know how many other teams are doing stuff like that. That's really cool to hear. I'll ask you one last question, Naman, before I let you go. So throughout a startup's journey, there's these highlight reel moments, whether it's a customer call telling you how much they appreciate what you've built, or your servers overloading because of how many people are using your platform on a particular day. That really make you have to pause and think about what you're doing, and like pause and realize that you're doing something cool. So can you tell me one such highlight reel moment from your journey so far? Maybe your favorite moment.
I think something that happened a couple of months back, I got an invitation to speak at India Film Project, right? And I was surprised that, I mean, why this? I have nothing to do with films, or, I'm not a creator as such, right?
Yeah.
And when I spoke to the host there, and they were like, and these are like, you would have, very celebrated Bollywood actors and singers who would be panelists in this Indian Film Project. And the attendees are about 40 to 50,000 every year, right? It's like a 3-day, 4-day program. And somebody like a Pankaj Tripathi, Shabana Azmi, those kind of artists, who come as panelists. And the host told me that a lot of these panelists actually use Refrens for their own work. And that is how they got to know about Refrens.
Okay.
Right. And that made us actually look into the database a little deeper. And then we found, there are YouTubers with, 200 million followers who are using our system. Okay, sorry, 20 million, 2 crore followers. Right. 20 million followers, right? There are LinkedIn creators with about 200K to 300K followers who use our system. There are a couple of popular Bollywood artists who use our system, right? So we were always thinking of a logo designer and a programmer and a CA using our system. But when we looked at this audience, and then it clicked us saying, everybody in Bollywood is actually a freelancer, right? They send an invoice to the producer. Apart from the producer, everybody is a freelancer. They collaborate for one project and then they again dismantle, right? And our solution is fitting exactly into that thing, right? I mean, we wouldn't have thought that this is a target market for us, right? But when we define it at a very abstract level, saying, is it a B2B relation? Yes. Do you need to document this relation? Yes. Hence, our system is useful for you. When we actually know our user and the user is actually a celebrity, I think then the team is more connected with the product. They can actually see like a real life impact of their work, right? I mean, the user is no longer a statistics for them. The user has a face and a voice for them. So that, I think, has helped the whole team understand the kind of impact we are creating.
Right. That's awesome. That's so cool. Naman, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. It's really cool to hear about the culture that you have at Refrens, and it's also I'm super excited to see where this goes and how this platform grows as you keep shipping out new features and keep reaching new people in new markets. So kudos to everything you'll have done so far, and here's to an awesome 2022 to you and your team.
Thank you so much, Noah, for having me. And thank you for doing this with us. Thank you.
Awesome.